wait. 20 minutes later, it's still spinning. This guy's a front-end dev, got a feeling. The fans on my laptop, they go brrr. Finally the page loads, my heart is stirred. The browser crashes hard, lose it all. Guess he has a small penis after all. Front-end developers like to put on shows, flash UI, but performance never grows. Give their junk a touch, it explodes. The likelihood of pleasure no one knows. Erectile dysfunction is the true game. 2 pumps on the mouse, slim shape. The sites load longer than they could ever last.
Front-end tards think they're code bards. Stupidity they guard, their brain just lard. Performance is too hard, penis thin as a card. All their tools of cope, React, Vite, Vue, no hope. Abstractions for the dope, good code, nope.
We have got you feeling fly cold in the mess. Building complex websites, bro, what a stress. Dumbing down devs, making them feel blessed. Lost in the JSX, call it a fucking test. Dependencies stacked like a dealer's stash. Props flowing everywhere, what a fucking clash. Flexing on GitHub, but your skills don't flash. Lost in abstraction, homie, that's trash. Fuck React, it's just a bluff. JavaScript wizards acting tough. Wrapped in components, ain't no cuff. Slaves to frameworks, had enough. Virtual DOM, think it's slick and novice. Real world calls show your lack of prowess. Promise chains breaking, fuck your solace. Code base tangle worse than fucking shoelaces. State management, bro, need some meds. Reducer functions killing my fucking head. Redux context, spinning threads. Real devs cut through, no React feds. Fuck React, it's just a bluff. JavaScript wizards acting tough. Wrapped in components, ain't no cuff. Slaves to frameworks, had enough.
I think I'm ready, so I'll turn down the music. Yeah, we got the articles lined up. Okay, I'm ready to go. Okay, music's off. Welcome in, everybody. Good to see you all on all the different platforms. If you're watching on X, YouTube, LinkedIn, Rumble, Twitch, wherever you're watching on, I appreciate you coming in and joining me on this Friday, where I am going to depress you about the daily tech news. Yeah, you shall be depressed. If you have come here for positive reinforcement, I'm sorry, but I have little to none. Do you use iPhone or Android? Android. iPhone sucks. I don't do Kick, and I don't have enough followers on TikTok. And I don't really have a good reason for not doing Kick, I suppose. Aside from I just haven't done it. I'm going to give Twitch a few, like 1 or 2 minutes. I know it sucks for everyone else watching everywhere else, but it gets the ads out of the way on the Twitch side, and there's nothing I can do about it. Bezos does what he wants, okay? I do not have a direct line to Bezos, despite what many of you might believe. Kick has issues, I've heard. It might, I don't know. I haven't looked into it. Instagram, I hate Instagram. I hate Facebook. I hate him. I hate him so much. I suppose I should I kind of suppose I should, even though I hate them, because I hate most social media platforms. I don't do it for, I don't stream for the views and stuff. I stream because I actually have a message that I want to get out there. That's more important to me than, well, let's say it's in top 5. So I should just buckle down and make use of all the different platforms that are available to me and just stop. I don't know. Hate React, and it explains it. Yeah, I mean, where did React come from, right? Facebook. Why would I support the company that I believe single-handedly injected a cancerous paradigm into the entire tech industry that spread from front end because it's the path of least resistance for the most moronic ideas, straight into the back end, and now into hardware? Why would I go and support them? So you have a point. You have a point, Raj. Okay, you have a point. I know it sounds like I'm joking on that part. I'm not joking. I'm really not joking. I genuinely believe React is a cancer to the entire tech industry, and I think I've been demonstrating it on these streams for a while now. It's terrible. It's so bad. It was just bad from the get-go. Yo, what's React got to do with hardware? Because the entire there's a fundamental principle that was injected. It's kind of a hard one for me to describe. I'll do the best that I can. I haven't given much thought to making the argument simple and clean, so I'll do the best I can. DDaver, by the way, hey DDaver, how's it going? Good to see you. So here's the concept. React was made so that people had an easy button. The lowest common denominator of programmers at Facebook couldn't deal with the stuff that the person who created React at Facebook could deal with. So the person who created React at Facebook created React to help out the other developers who could not keep up with everything that this person was doing and the upcoming things, that features and whatnot that they needed to implement in Facebook. Ultimately, when you reduce that down, it's just developers don't know how to do something, even though it's not about them being stupid, because I don't actually believe that. I think a lot of developers are actually quite smart, but we're not doing them any favors. We're not actually utilizing that. We're not encouraging them to use their brain. Instead, what we do is we go, these programmers complain that they can't do something when really they just need a little bit of a helping hand to do something. So instead of helping them, what we do is we go, well, we'll create a tool for you, and it's an easy button. That principle of you don't need to do thinking, someone else has done thinking for you and created a tool to reduce your requirement to think. That's in the form of, for example, right now, AI, which is a speed run version of that same principle. And AI is now being embedded into hardware. For example, your NVIDIA graphics cards, which are now going to generate frames between actual frames while you're playing video games, so that the programmers of a video game do less. There you go. That's why React has ruined the entire industry, top to bottom. Top to bottom, it's all destroyed. You want to have a fight with Zuckerberg in the ring? Of course I do. Of course I do. Why wouldn't I? Okay. Shall we get into the news? Let me take one more sip of my coffee here. Haven't been talking enough today, so my throat needs a bit of coffee. Let's get into the news today. So I'm going to start off with this puppy. Hackers can now bypass Linux security thanks to terrifying new curing rootkit. This one I had to dig it a bit into in order to understand what was going on. I have self-admitted skill issues when it comes to deeper elements of Linux. But I thought I'd bring this one up because I know I have a lot of viewers who are like all like 6 of you watching right now, and then further people who watch later on, who run on Linux a lot, right? So I just wanted to like make sure you guys understood what this was about. I have no idea what this AI generated image is about. I don't know. I don't know what this is. Anyways, most Linux users assume their security tools will catch bad actors before damage is done, but sadly, new research suggests that confidence may be displaced. Armo, the company behind Cubescape, has uncovered what could be one of the biggest blind spots in Linux security today. It's released a working rootkit called Curing that uses IO-Uring, a feature built into the Linux kernel, to stealthily perform malicious activities without being caught by many of the detection solutions currently on the market. At the heart of the issue is the heavy reliance on monitoring system calls, which has become the go-to method for many cybersecurity vendors. The problem? Attackers can completely sidestep these monitored calls by leaning on IO-Uring instead. This clever method could let bad actors quietly make network connections or tamper with files without triggering the usual alarms. Now, at this point, I'm like, what's IO-Uring? So just to go a little bit conspiracy theory here, does anybody know which company essentially created React? I mean, there was an individual in the company, but the company itself created React. Which company? Anybody? Which company created React? It links into this. Conspiracy theory time. Meta, yeah, / Facebook, right? Raj got it. Raj on Twitch got it. All right. Yeah, Zuck Corp. Does anybody know who made IO-Uring? IO-Uring is a new asynchronous IO API for Linux created by Jens Axbo from Facebook. There you go. There you go. Now, call me a conspiracy theorist, because I am. IO-Uring, yeah. There's something going on here with Facebook. All right? So I thought it was I didn't give away the lead when Raj asked about, or when DDaver asked about the hardware with React, because I thought it was so perfect. I had this lined up. I didn't open any tabs. You saw it. I had this all lined up, and I'm like, oh man, you want to talk about React? Let's do it. And now here we are. It comes full circle, baby. It aims at providing an API without the limitations of the current Select, Poll, ePoll, or AIO family of system calls, which we discussed in the previous section, which is about doing particular API calls. So from what I could gather from a brief cursory look of this, essentially what it means, there's like a typical path that you would take to do networking and file system calls. In IO-Uring, because of the nature of it, like because it's asynchronous, it's like a different methodology for doing similar types of things or the same thing. So I sort of can kind of connect the dots, but I have to look into it more. But essentially, I won't read the rest of the article. You can go look this up for yourself, and be careful, all right? It's hilarious, yeah. No, that's how you say it, Charlie. Yeah, IO-Uring, yeah, that's how I say it, yes. Facebook was created to kill us, absolutely. That's its goal. What's up, D on X? Move fast, break things, fix nothing. Isn't that the motto of the entire industry? Yeah. That's literally the motto. If you could take the tech industry and you could put it in a building, okay, and you could walk, you open up the doors, right, to the entrance of the tech industry building, and then on the floor, etched into it is like a logo for the tech industry, right? And maybe right now it's like React and AI, those two logos mashed together, and then around it in text, right? It does like the text around the thing, and it's literally move fast, break things, fix nothing. And then at the very bottom, just to kind of like, just to end that, it's like, grab that money bag and run away. Yeah. Okay, so there you go. Watch out if you're on Linux. This is particularly scary because the typical things that you would rely on to catch nefarious actions are not necessarily at play here, which means they could be blind to certain vulnerabilities. Yeah, just be careful. All right. Now, if only Ross. I don't know if Ross is here. I don't think Ross is here. I don't see him. But usually Ross is on Twitch and X. And every time, I think I've had... This is episode 30. I think I've had 28 episodes, maybe 26, where there's been a data breach from a health service provider. That's I don't know if that's a record, but that's pretty high. And here we are on episode 30, and we have yet another one. Frederick Health data breach impacts nearly 1 million patients. A ransomware attack in January at Frederick Health Medical Group, a major healthcare provider in Maryland, so watch out if you're in Maryland, has led to a data breach affecting nearly 1 million patients. It's one of the Frederick County's largest employers. They had to notify patients. They noticed it on January 27th, and then they also had to, I guess by law, you have to notify law enforcement. Now, an unauthorized person gained access to our network, and on January 27th, copied certain files from a file share server. Depending on the affected individuals, the attacker stole a combination of sensitive personal information, including patient names, addresses, dates of birth, social security numbers, and driver's license numbers. They also exfiltrated personal health information, such as medical record numbers, health insurance information, and or clinical information related to patients' care. Now, they didn't say how many individuals were affected, but apparently, as part of their reporting, like their legal reporting, it could be as much as 934,326 patients. Again, I've said this before, and I'm going to keep saying it. Imagine what you could do if you had even one person's information to this degree. These are jumping off points. This kind of information serves as jumping off points because what you can do is you can take this information and then you can use it to get access to other information or to commit other types of acts based on this information. And it just escalates. It just balloons from here. Now, I tried to figure out how this happened, but they provide no information. So there's no information about how this person got access to the network. Could it be a lack of security? Possibly. Could it be social engineering? Possibly. It's hard to say. So I don't know how this happened. I don't know the details. I wish I did. It would be very interesting to figure out how they got access to it. But in any case, if you're in Maryland, be careful. And I just want to say that if you're working in fields that contain sensitive information about people, like one of these fields, and you're a programmer, just at least attempt to take the news and the information that I present on these streams and make sure that your company is doing their best to mitigate these security issues. I don't think enough people are talking about it, and it's hard to talk about in an abstract way. So here I am presenting like some facts and some data and some information. Maybe try taking it to people that whoever will hear you out and show them the consequences of not taking security seriously, especially when you work in a sector where personal information is like a key aspect of it. Okay, that's kind of the reason why I do these streams. Right, but it's super important because here's a good example of why it's important. Because one of these people, let's say you're a programmer who lives in Maryland, one of these people who was affected by this breach could be you or someone you care about. I want you to just think about that. Okay, next. Stupid ads. Interlock ransomware claims DaVita attack leaks stolen data. So DaVita is a kidney dialysis firm. You thought we were done with healthcare? No, yeah. Raj is a U.S. tech from 1950. Some places are like that, yeah. No. DaVita is a Fortune 500 kidney care provider with more than 2,600 U.S. dialysis centers. So on April 12, it suffered a ransomware attack. And the Interlock ransomware gang claimed the attack. And so it showed, it published a data leak on the dark web just to prove that they got it. Now, according to the gang's claim, they have about 1.5 terabytes of data from the healthcare company, or nearly 700,000 files of what appear to be sensitive patient records, information on user accounts, insurance, and even financial details. How did they get access to this? I don't think the information is in here. I do try to gather like the methodology that was used to gather this data, and it's not here. So again, I don't know. There is this paragraph at the end that makes like a guess, based on previous tactics used at other companies, but that's not what happened here. So I don't know. I don't know how this worked. I don't know how they got access to the data, how they did their ransomware. I don't know. But the fact is that they did. And so here we are. Now, what do you think, folks? Do you think I'm done with healthcare data breaches? Do you think I'm done? Anyone want to take a guess? Raj on Twitch says the Indian largest bank, State Bank of India, I recently visited their branch. They use Internet Explorer. I have an account on their bank. Holy crap. Yeah. What's up, Travis? Thanks for the lurk, man. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. What do you think? You think we're done with health data breaches? No, we're not done. We're not done. There's more. Yale New Haven health data breach affects 5.5 million patients. At this point, I think it's fair to say that if you've ever taken a dump anywhere, your data is out there. Somebody knows that you have. It's out there in digitalized form. Someone's using that data. I mean, at this point, what health data, what person does not have their health data out there? Anyways. So they had a cyber attack earlier in the month. They're a nonprofit healthcare network in Connecticut, the largest in the state, providing comprehensive care across 5 hospitals and 360 outpatient locations. It employs 30,000 health professionals and has an annual revenue of over $5.6 billion. That's pretty big. So on March 11th, they're like, hey, something's up. There's disruptions going. And then 3 days later, they're like, yeah, there's a data breach. Stolen information includes, you guessed it, date of birth, home address, telephone number, email address, race, ethnicity, social security number, patient type, medical record number, who you voted for last election, the consistency of your daily dumps, the color of your pee the last time you peed, when was the last time you sneezed, the last cough you had, and whether it was like a deep cough or a light cough, whether you like snore at night or not. I mean, like it was clarified that the exposure did not include financial information, medical records, or treatment details. Praise Jesus. At least it wasn't that. It was basically all this, but at least it wasn't this. So, oof. Oh, man. Yeah, your entire DNA genome, your girth size, how many sperm are living in your ball sack versus how many microplastics there are in there. I mean, like, bros, I can't. So they had to email the patients. Yeah, that's normal. The breach impacted 5,556,702 patients. Class action lawsuits are being prepared, but the attacker remains unknown. So who knows? Again, who knows? No one knows. Okay, let's move on, shall we? Next up. That's not the next one I wanted to do. I'll move that over here. This one. Active ! Male RCE flaw exploited in attacks on Japanese orgs. Now, it's a web-based email client. And I had to look this up. It's actually kind of popular. So you can think of it like Gmail or Outlook. And they have a huge number. 2,250 organizations with 11 million accounts. And that's just Japan, I think. It's mostly centered around Japan. However, they have a stack-based buffer overflow vulnerability, which is critical. And so if you happen to be, because I actually know that I have some viewers who are in Japan. So just if you're out there and you happen to be using this, just be mindful of this. Okay. And make sure that you're up to date on using the latest version if you can, whatever it is, just be careful. I know that there are some people who might benefit from knowing that this exists out there. Okay. So that's why I bring this one up in particular. If you're a fellow Japanese fan of mine, thank you. And be careful out there. Okay. This one was interesting. Massive botnet bigger than some countries discovered as DDoS attacks soar. We're cooked. We're so cooked. Millions of devices reaching end of life with access to fast internet are turning into a cybersecurity nightmare. This year, a record-breaking botnet consisting of 1.33 million devices is wreaking havoc on global web services. If this botnet were a country, it would be as large as Cyprus, Mauritius, or Estonia, and bigger than around 50 other countries in the world. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So they give away basically, how this works, right? They essentially take devices right here, right? It's an increasing number of outdated and vulnerable devices in developing countries. And in particular, many cheap devices, especially off-brand Android ones coming from China, even come with malware pre-installed and Google security features disabled. Currently, authorities and internet service providers are keeping around 5 million various devices sinkholed, no longer able to call back to hackers who used to control them, with Brazil again leading the chart. However, when they become outdated, you have all of these devices which are just ripe for takeover, and then you just do a mass DDoS campaign. Now, the DDoS campaign, I had to go and read this. So the DDoS campaign, I think, is actually a symptom. There could be a cause to the DDoS. they may not actually be intending to DDoS the entire internet. I actually think what's really happening is that these devices are being used to scrape the internet. That's what I would do. That's what this high school dropout genius level person would do. You would take these devices and you would mass scrape the internet. And it would come across as a DDoS as a symptom of a mass scrape. But the amount of internet connectivity that these devices are doing is absolutely bonkers. The first quarter of 2025 saw a 110% increase in DDoS attacks compared to a year earlier. The surge follows a 50% increase in 2024 from 2023. Now, what do you think happened between 2024 and 2025 that might account for this? AI? I'm just saying. And you know who was recently accused? Well, I mean, there were a few recently accused, but one of the recently accused companies that was accused of scraping data that they shouldn't have had access to in order to train their AI. Call me a conspiracy theorist. Okay, that was a bit tongue-in-cheek. Okay. WordPress continues to be hijacked. They're being hijacked to send out 1.4 billion ad requests per day. Now, I can't find a way to tie this into Facebook. I can't. I wish I could. I wish I could point everything back to Facebook, but I can't. I can't do it. So yeah, no way. Yeah, I am a conspiracy theorist. It's true. DDoS is all devices connecting to the same host. Your scraper botnet should be parallelizing multiple hosts, not all connecting to the same place at the same time. I could see a situation where you do a blast of I don't know, what would you call it? I could see a scenario where you could do like a blast and it would kind of, I don't know. I can't describe it properly. Yeah, PHP, there it is. PHP. D on X, got it. It's PHP. That's 100% right. And so here we go. We've made another connection to Facebook. WordPress is PHP. Who forked PHP? Yep. Yep. So just saying. Sorry. No, D. No, D on X is like, I was just kidding. No, D. It is now canonical. It is now part of canon. Okay. Facebook is now responsible for this as well. Thank you, D. Bless your heart. Bless your heart for encouraging me. Bless your heart, D. I have to install WordPress in some Docker container for a school project. I already thought it was garbage, so it's still garbage. It's still garbage. Yeah. By the way, good to see you, Purecoin. PHP was forked for perf. No, it was forked for this. No, I deny it all. My conspiracy theory stands true. All right, so there's this scam called Scallyway. It's a fraud scheme, right? And so what it does is it monetizes pirated sites through a series of redirects. What happens? Okay, so typically what you would do is for a pirated site, you'd host ads, but they don't do that anymore because advertising policies, like, they kind of like block you, right? They see that and they go, no, your site gets like deranked or whatever, nobody discovers you. So they partner with hundreds of website owners, which are usually also scammers, and they deploy a set of 4 WordPress plugins as part of their installation, collectively named Scallywag. Gee, I wonder what that's a reference to. They load as many ads as possible, and they make sure people stick around until they fully render. There are a couple of tactics to slow visitors down, from the please wait button that turns to download now to fake captchas and other methods. So these are the plugins, okay? And they build an entire network of these things. So there's tons of these WordPress websites that install these plugins, and they play on like SEO and discoverability and whatnot. They attract regular users, and then they just play the ads, and then of course they make ad revenue money. Bare minimum. If not, maybe like mine Bitcoin while they're playing, right? So yeah, hey MyTech on YouTube. Yeah, WordPress sucks. I know, it does. It really does. So be careful if you're on a WordPress site, or if you use WordPress, or if you're somebody who supports WordPress sites. I know that there are some of you out there who do like WordPress programming, WordPress development, and you support WordPress sites. Just be careful about what you're doing on it, all right? Okay, up next. Your vendor may be the weakest link. Percentage of third-party breaches doubled in a year. We've gone over this before. NPM packages, Rust crates, PHP Composer packages, take your pick of any package management system, is a huge weak link. Probably the weakest link. I could probably agree with this. It's probably the weakest link you have in any piece of software or website or whatever it is you're programming. As soon as you depend on a third party to solve problems for you, you have immediately introduced a massive black hole of all kinds of serious issues. And I will say again, React was the gateway drug to exactly this kind of thing happening. It is the weakest link of all kinds of third-party systems that just ballooned as from the generation of React and all its dependencies, node module folder becoming like several gigs large in order to like center a div, things like this. You can't keep up with the size of these things. People are not properly checking what they're importing, yada, yada, yada. We've been over this so many times. However, the increase in the security that you're importing by choosing that easy button and not thinking about it has risen dramatically. The proportion of breaches involving third parties rose from 15% in last year's dataset to 30% in this year's report. So this is Verizon's Data Breach Investigations Report, one of the industry's most watched autopsies on what actually goes wrong in InfoSec. So they released it Wednesday. It's incidents that occurred between 2023 and 2024. That is a huge increase. And not only do I believe this to be true, I love showing this. I love it. I love showing this. Yeah. When was React released? Yeah, I keep going back to this. Right? Look at this chart. Yeah. And I've been over studies. They're on my live streams on my YouTube channel. I've been releasing them as often as I can. And there's an Enlightened Programming stream. I can't remember which one, but it's now, I chopped it up into a video. And I think it was this, not the Siskiyou report. It might have been the one before. It's something like over 90% of commercial, like paid for corporate companies that operate in, they use software of any kind. They have a dependency on a third party, usually open source, over 90%. And so then you take something like this chart, and you take something like this with the increase year over year. How many companies are at risk? Dion X says Facebook was released in 2013. Well, there you have it. Right about here. Look at this. 2013. Jump. I heard React was the only good thing coming out of Facebook. Yeah, you heard wrong, Peercoin. Yeah. Look at that. Proof. Okay, so be careful out there. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to keep saying it many, many times. We need to change the way that we look at third-party libraries. We no longer. I don't think we should be looking at them as ways to avoid reinventing the wheel or solving problems that have, quote unquote, already been solved. We should look at them critically and assume the worst case from them. That's how you should start. You should assume that they have malware or some other kind of backdoor security issue built into them. You should assume that they don't actually solve problems, or they solve fewer problems than they create, and that they're not maintainable, they're not scalable, and that there are legal issues with them. Assume all the worst things, and then do a proper review of what you're importing, whether it's looking at the code, looking at the licenses, whatever it is, and then import after that. Instead of just going create React app, npm install, good to go, man. Right, so what's up, Lawler? Good to see you, man. It's been a while. Facebook is responsible for the recent kernel IO compromise. Yeah, MyTech. We went over that. That's right. Went over that beginning. I think you missed the beginning of the stream, MyTech. But Facebook is responsible for everything. I actually squarely put the blame on React. This part that I'm about to say right now is not like a joke. I think React has been a cancer to the entire industry. Literally a cancer. Anyways, we have to take a different approach to third parties. I'm encouraging you out there as programmers in particular to understand that there are real world consequences to this kind of stuff, and unfortunately it mostly falls on your shoulders to have to first of all have the ability to value judge a third party, and second of all actually take the steps to value judge it and just assume the worst case. We have to start doing that, because this is only going to get worse. And especially with AI is only going to increase these numbers, because you're going to be able to produce more of these kinds of bad things at larger numbers in shorter periods of time. So we desperately need to change our viewpoint on that. Now, speaking of AI, I've talked about this, I think it was last week or the week before on the Daily Tech News stream. There seems to be a back off on people like OpenAI and Microsoft now creating data centers for AI. And AWS, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So this one's about AWS. But I know OpenAI did it. I know Microsoft did it. And now AWS is backing off on creating data centers. I have an article that I have in the backlog that I'm going to, I need to read a bit more. I'll bring it up on next week's, one of next week's Daily Tech News streams, but it's shocking the amount of energy, and in particular, the amount of water that gets used for most AI. And what do we get for the amount of water we use? It's like, anyways, I need to read the data. I'm not gonna spitball it, because I could be wrong if I spitball it. But it's a huge number, and in terms of like gallons or whatever you want to, whatever metric you want to use, it's massive. And we get Studio Ghibli and barely junior level code, and now these big companies are backing off of data centers. And I went over, there was an Enlightened Programming stream I did where we read an article from someone who did a deep dive into the financials of a lot of these AI companies. Essentially, all of them are in debt, and they're just keeping each other afloat by pushing the debt around to each other. That's all that's happening right now. I think that that AI has hit a wall, and these companies are not financially stabilized. I think they're financially very destabilized, because they're not getting the returns that they were hoping to get from AI. But I mean, what else is new? This is the tech industry. Everything gets overhyped. People jump on it. A bunch of funding goes into it. And nobody thinks deeply about what they're doing. The last article, FBI, US, just the US, lost record $16.6 billion to cybercrime in 2024. Who do you think pays for this lost money? Who pays for that? For all that money lost? Who pays for it? That's just in 1 year. My grandma? Probably, yep. But she's dead, so no. Anyone? If your grandma's alive, yeah, she's probably paying for it. But that's kind of the point, right? We're all paying for it. Comes out of your taxes. It comes out of increased prices from companies that you purchase services from. It could come out of like your gas prices. It could come out of your grocery store prices. We're all paying for this. It's all fake money. Yeah, My Tech on YouTube says nobody. It's all fake money. Yeah. Now, this is an increase of over 33% compared to the previous year, 2023. That's huge. That's massive. That's a third increase. And the number of reports have gone up. Obviously, complaints have gone up. Obviously, IC3 received over 9 million complaints of malicious activity since its founding. 2,000 during its infancy, IC3 received roughly 2,000 complaints every month. For the past 5 years, IC3 has averaged more than 2,000 complaints every single day. And here we go, the chart of complaints and losses over the last 4 years. Now, I'll ask again. When did when did React come out? I'm just kidding. Okay, I'm just joking. But look, they're too afraid. At least Biden had it under control. Sure, yeah. Forget, bro. Anyone that tries to make something better than React, they end up making a crap framework. Yeah. Anyways, this is a really damning report, especially because we've gone over time and time again on these tech news streams and on the Enlightened programming streams. The nature of a lot of these cybersecurity issues are really simple. How many times have I gone over an article that you guys have watched with me or read with me that literally said massive data breach because of an unsecured Amazon S3 bucket? I mean, this stuff is basic, right? Your external dependencies, that should be a basic operational thing that you check, right? These things are basic that we should be able to have on lockdown, and we don't in a big way. A lot of these things are avoidable, but we just don't want to. This will only get worse. I'm sorry to say, it's only going to get worse for a while. But I strongly believe that within a year, by 2026, probably early 2026, okay, Textradamus is making a prediction. There will be a come to Jesus moment where a lot of these things are going to create such a dramatic, I don't know what you would call it. Something dramatic will happen and people will be so shocked, and we're going to start looking at these things differently. That's my prediction. And then we're all making a bunch of money cleaning up the mess. Okay, now, the last thing that I want to cover is just kind of like a funny little thing at the end. If you recall if you were here and you recall yesterday's Daily Tech News stream, I went over a post I made on X where I highlighted an exchange that happened on Twitter, on X, where a bunch of morons were arguing with with myself and others in chat right now about simplicity versus complexity in the web. And I made a post about it and how these people don't have any logical arguments, which is insane when we operate in a purely logical world the way we are. And as a result of those things, it got just a little bit of funny attention. Just a little bit of funny attention. And Delaney, yeah, are they even real? Yeah. Delaney from Datastar made a funny out of it. I just thought I'd share it with everyone because it's kind of hilarious. Theo, someone who does not know how to program properly, who continually, constantly, incorrectly utilizes all kinds of things, frames things incorrectly, it pisses people off on the daily, honestly. And people around Theo, they decided to kind of drop some trash talk. So Delaney, think what you will of Datastar and Delaney, but you know, there was an argument going back and forth about the nature of Datastar, which is a front-end library, I guess. Yeah, a library of sorts. And I mean, this is a real quote. Grow up. Nobody wants to use your shit framework, even you. That's what Theo thinks. Now, Theo, it seems like Theo lied about something. Okay, Delaney calls him out, drops the leaks the DMs to prove it. Right. Apparently, Theo claims that Delaney made fun of him for made fun of Theo for asking for a production version. I haven't seen any evidence to that effect. But the real funny, it doesn't surprise me that Theo would lie about that, honestly. But I thought this was hilarious. And if I think what's going to happen is you're going to see that quote. You're going to see this on the official Datastar website as a testimonial somewhere up here. I just think it's funny to lean into that. But these are the kind of people who have the most views, the most influence, who invest in other big companies that push technical directions in particular ways that I think most of my viewers would dislike and have grown to dislike over time as they've proven themselves to be inefficient, bloated, insecure, and in some cases completely useless or unnecessary. But these are the people at the top who say things like this and who invest in companies and push these kinds of, moronic paradigms. And when they're pushed back, these are their responses. So make of that what you will. It's just funny. Okay, it's just funny. So that's it. I just wanted to show that as kind of like a funny thing at the end. That's all I got. That's all I got for today. I mean, I do have more. I have a big backlog of news items, but I'll save them for Monday. So that's it. I will be back. Datastar is a framework. Yeah, it's a framework, so it's even more hated. Let's increase the hate on Datastar. So I'll be back on Monday, and I'm hoping that I'm gonna do a video game stream this weekend, probably Sunday. That's what I'm thinking of right now. But I'll put it up as another I'll schedule it beforehand so you can see it on my YouTube and on my Twitch, just like I did today. I should do that more often. And we'll continue working on the video game. There's a bunch of stuff I want to do that I'm woefully behind on. So we'll do that. And there's some stuff coming up next week with the video game as well. So we'll get back to it. But worst case, you'll see me on Monday for the Daily Tech News stream. And I just want to thank everybody again for all the support that I get, the likes, the subscribes, the repost, all of that good stuff. Please keep doing it. It matters. It makes a difference. If you like what I'm doing, if you like the arguments that I'm having with people and you want me to have more of them, if you like the message I'm spreading and you want me to tell more programmers, you know, this kind of message, I need your help. I can't do it myself. And it's through the algorithm games, and it's working. It's expanding my reach because you guys are doing it. So thank you, and please keep doing it. I really appreciate it. And please stay safe out there. Okay. Most of them haven't made anything sustainable, so they only know jargons. Yeah, D. Yeah, that's yes. I mean, sustainable has different. Anyways, I'm not going to get into it. Okay, I don't have time. Do you play Deep Rock? I do. I love playing Deep Rock. Yeah. I need 5 more minutes. No, Purecoin. You don't tell me what to do on my stream. Okay. I do what I want. I quit when I want. Okay. Okay, that's it. Have a good weekend. If I happen to not stream for some reason on the weekend, I really want to, but have a good weekend, and hopefully I'll be seeing you on the video game stream. We'll work on some video game stuff. Discord? Yeah, I should pump in my Discord, eh? Here. Here it is on Twitch. In case you're on YouTube, here it is. And then I wonder if I can do it on X. So D, what you can do is if you go on my YouTube and just pick literally any video, you don't even have to watch it. Just go in the description. There's a Discord link there because apparently I can't shoot it off on X. So do that, D. Just go on my YouTube and just find literally any video and just look at the description. Not the live stuff, but just any other video, and the Discord link's right there. I have YouTube. Just look up my name on YouTube. I have a year's worth of backlog, more than that actually. All the live streams, I've dicing up the enlightened programming stuff, which is purely like academic journals, scientific studies to make my case. I have an entire YouTube backlog of that. All these daily tech news streams, an entire backlog of that. I have it all there. So, and the Discord link. I'm not as active on Discord as I should be. I need to be pushing people. Like I have to go in there and like maybe hop on voice more, or like talk to people more and engage, like get conversations going. I don't do that enough, but what I can promise you is that if you jump on there and you shout out at me, I will respond to you. I will. I should do more to encourage that, but I promise if you go on there and you talk to me or you talk to other people, I'll talk. It's, yeah. Okay, so that's it. I'm out of here. Peace out, everyone. Have a good weekend. Have a good day or have a good night, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I appreciate all of you out there. Thanks for all the help with the reach and all that. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for listening to my crazy conspiracy theories. Chaz, good to see you, man. And we'll catch you hopefully on the weekend, either tomorrow or Sunday. We'll spend a few hours and have a bit of fun. Chill stream. Peace.